Let's head to the other matchup, Nations League semifinal, France versus Germany. So this one was played in Lyon, as mentioned. It was always going to be tough sledding for Germany. Clara Bull, she was gunning early. She looked like she was super bound to get on the score sheet. 41st minute, though, perfectly struck Basha free kick. Basha ball, let's fucking go. Gets headed back out of danger by Leah Schuler, only to find its way to even more danger. The right boot of one Kandidatou Diani, who fires a rocket. A fucking rocket into the bottom right corner to put France ahead 1-0. I think the French color commentator described it perfectly. And please pardon my terrible French accent. She described it as, woo, ho ho. After the ball is struck. I love this French lineup top to bottom, even without Wendy Renard. Le Sommer, Katoto, Basha up top, Diani, Gayoro, and Amandine Henry in the midfield. Backline spearheaded by Karshawi on one side, De Almeida on the other. Off the bench, Cascarino, Toletti, Sadie Baltimore all came in as subs. This is going to be a tough team to beat in any competition. I know we just got done talking about that Spain side, and I feel like I've definitely said this before, but if and when this French team puts it all together, they're going to be tough to deal with. The only thing is we haven't really seen them put it all together. You know, like they've sort of been in that favorites pool going back quite a bit, probably all the way back to that US matchup. I think at the World Cup when we played in France, that they didn't totally show up for. Last World Cup, they sputtered out of that one as well. But they seem to have kind of maybe unlocked something. This summer's Olympics, again, they're going to be played on their home turf. 2 French teams left in the Champions League quarterfinals, each with a real shot to win it. That's if Braun stumbles. But again, France didn't need a result here to qualify for the Olympics. Germany did. And France still took care of fucking business. UEFA Nations League final going down in Sevilla, though, that's going to be tough. Tall task for the French. But with France having a bit of their moment, you know, as a footballing country on the women's side, how much do you like their chances to defend the home turf in the Olympics? But before we get there, Nations League final. This one's, like I said, it's going down to Sevilla.
Yeah.
What are you going to be looking for? What do you think is the outcome that would shock you the least?
Shock me the least is Spain winning comfortably, honestly, 2-0. I don't think they run over France, but man, beating Spain in an important match. Other thing that won't shock me, Dale made a yellow card in that match. That's what are the odds on that? If we're talking gambling, like that's happening.
Give me all that.
I love the way she plays so much. I feel like, you know, we talk about her every episode for good reason. She's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a tall order. And France is great. France has an embarrassment of riches almost to the likes of Spain. But it's that link up. It's that chemistry that we just talk about with Spain that is just like, that is hard to deal with. It's virtually impossible to deal with. And France has a good amount of that. I mean, you mentioned that front 6. Katoto, Le Sommer, Basha, Henry, Gayoro, Diani. That's about as talented of a front 6 as you could possibly put on the pitch. But still, you know, when they are attacking Spain, I'm going to mention the 3 again. When you have Paredes, Batier, and Olga Carmona, like that's some heavyweight battle type of shit. And in Sevilla, you just got to think the level of pride, that heart of a champion. Shout out Rudy Tomjanovic. You cannot measure that. And I do think a Spain victory, maybe it's 0-0 at halftime, but Spain kind of pulls away at the end. I feel like that would shock me the least. Where are you at for next week's match?
I think I agree with that, but I think it'll be really competitive.
Sure.
I think the game's in the balance into the 70s, maybe into the low 80s.
Yeah.
I like the intensity from France.
Yes.
Probably De Almeida setting the tone there too.
Karshawi,
you know, she'll give you an elbow to the rib.
She will.
You know,
and like it.
Gayoro. Yeah, and Gayoro's like super opportunistic, very smart. You know, Le Sommer, she's a scorer and a creator. You know, I think she knows so much. Her football IQ is 99 for talking FIFA ratings, obviously. Sure. Just because she knows exactly what to do. She always makes the right play, and she tries some wild shit. I think it's going to be really interesting. And I think if France scores in this one, I want to see that.
Yes.
That's basically the challenger landing a big shot, getting a second round knockdown, and you're like, oh, okay, here we go. Now we're going to see something. I was rooting for France in this one because I wanted the third place match to have some stakes. Nice. Also in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know. Germany's pretty loaded. Like, quick note on the lineups. They brought their heavy hitters out for this one. Pop and Schuler up top. Clara Buhl, Oberdorf, Nuskin, and Svenja Huth in the midfield. Fucking loaded. Linder, Hegering, Henrich, and Julia Gvin on the back line. Like, that's a fucking squad too. And even so, France overwhelmed them in the first half. A little bit of Basha ball, a little bit of Karshawi ball. A couple minutes after Diani's blast, and just before halftime, Marina Hegering, she fumbles a ball played her way. Eugenie Lesemer pounces. She knows she's going to have a runner like darting into some open real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So she grabs it. She's like, turn, and boom, plays a really smart pass upfield just into some space. Grace Gayuro, she gets to it first, draws the penalty on Lena Oberdorf. Sakina Karshawi, she slides the PK in just past German keeper Meryl France to put the French up 2. And that's a perfect example of like their quick strike is just real quick.
Yeah.
That I think is their one chance against Spain.
Yeah.
A loose ball, a quick pass, boom, ball's in the net. You're like, oh shit, all right, game on. They have that capability. Germany pulled one back late. They earned a penalty in the 80th minute. Julia Gvin blasted into the top ending of the goal. Smoke coming off it. That had some real thunder to it. But like I said, I was glad to see France win because now that third place matchup between the Netherlands and Germany, massive stakes, birth to the Olympics at stake in that one. Good week of football, and I think we've got some fun ones coming up on Wednesday.
Good week of football that birthed the promise of more good football, I think. I like Karshawi taking the penalty. Think of the players on the pitch with her, your left back, and she's the one who takes the penalty. I fucking love that. You talk about like her attitude and the way she generally plays, her leadership skills packaged with De Almeida. She's on the pitch. I think Lesemer was off at that point, but she's on the pitch with Caridatu Diani and Grace Gayuro and Marie-Antoinette Katoto. And they're like, nope, Karshawi's got it. She takes the penalty. She's the pen taker. That's fucking rad. What a great player.
Yeah, she's like a definite alpha on that team, but they might have 3 or 4 of those, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a heavyweight battle between, France and Spain. Well, I'm totally with you. Like, we're talking about stacked rosters. I'm glad you named the Germany starting 11. Alexandra Pop and Clara Buhl, they're gunning from Jump Street. I don't know what, and I don't want to get too far off on a tangent, but like, what are they missing? Like, they had the disappointing World Cup. I mean, can we blame everything on chemistry every time a team doesn't win? But I feel like you're missing something. Maybe they're missing a little bit of like that clinical touch. Maybe it just wasn't happening in this match versus France. But like, what's the final piece? Like, what wasn't happening for Germany, you think?
I mean, I'm probably typecasting, but I feel like it's a little bit of, I don't know, call it improvisation or call it fast twitch decision making. Yeah. You're just kind of missing that. A lot of it's like, all right, let's work it up. All right, we got a corner. Like, now let's get real serious because like we're gonna do that thing that we know is gonna work, and it's just kind of not the most imaginative attack. I think a team like that is gonna really struggle. Actually, we're gonna see some shit against the Netherlands.
I think so.
I love Bernstein up front. Oh, I think she's dynamite and she's very unpredictable. She's got like a weird start-stop kind of action, and she's a gunner. Like, I mean, which is great because then you pair her with Martins and Miedema. That's a nice mix that I think could give Germany trouble. So I think we're going to see, I always say it, styles make fights. If I'm right, I think we might see the Netherlands hit them with a weird shot that they don't see coming.
Yeah.
And Germany really struggle because if you're the Netherlands, you kind of know what to defend against, right? It becomes a little bit easy. Like, those Clara Buhl chances came from a little far out. They were close because she's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But that was the best that they got, So it's going to be a little tough unless they can kind of switch up between here and Wednesday.
I'm totally with you. And I think one thing that I thought was interesting, I realize we're kind of bouncing. I mean, we're talking about 4 great squads that we're kind of bouncing around a little bit. I thought one thing was interesting, and this might be just a condition that happens when you're playing Spain, but when Lika Martins didn't take advantage, she had a couple good looks on goal against Spain. And when she didn't convert like the second one, I think later in the first half, I just like total body language doctor. I was just like, ooh, man, she really, if she buries that one, I think we're talking about a different match here. Because you're playing Spain and you're like, fuck, I gotta convert those or we're dead. And like, you almost get an existential dread after that.
Yeah, I mean, the window closes so quick.
It
I
does.
mean, Beerenstein, she took those chances, couldn't
Hmm.
convert, and I think once you have a couple looks, you can't really put one of them in. I mean, it gets real tough. But that Lika Martin's couple moments that I think we're talking about the same moments here.
Yeah.
It's like when you take that one extra touch against Spain, you're fucked.
Yeah.
The swarm has arrived. It's over. The opportunity's
Yeah.
out the door, and that's why I like this France side against them. That's why I think this matchup is going to be pretty compelling
Yeah.
because they're happy to go quick. We're not going to waste time knocking it around and looking for something 5% better, 10% better. We'll just take this one,
Right.
and I think that could be interesting. I think that might be the recipe to at least make it pretty competitive. So we'll see some exciting stuff just around the bend here.
I think so. And so I don't want to make it sound like I think Spain walks to a win. I think they're certainly capable of winning a match like 2-0, I think was the scoreline that came to my head. But if France is going to win, what if we get a Grace Oro game where
Mm,
she's just like she's holding the ball and she's a distributor and she's kind of playing triangles with Diani and Le Sommer, and then we get our mix of Basha ball. We get set pieces with Basha setting shit up. Like I feel like that is something we could see. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here. What if we see Amel Majri? What if she gets some time?
mm.
End of the match. 31-year-old Lyon attacker. She's had her share of big, important matches. I don't think she appeared. Let me just double check, but I don't think she appeared in the Germany match.
No, she didn't get in.
Yeah, and like our gal Sandy Baltimore got it in the 90th. I was very psyched to see her get it. So, maybe
Let's
she plays
go.
a role. Maybe you need speed and attacking toward the end. I will say there is a part of me that's like, okay, well, if they're bringing on Majri and Baltimore in the 70th minute against Spain, they might already be in a lot of trouble. But I do think when it comes to Majri, it's nice to have an attacker on the bench who the moment's not going to be too big for them. So I'm throwing
Totally.
it out, shot in the dark. If we see Majri, she might be able to do something special.
I like it. And I think the Grace Carriero call too could be interesting because I think we've seen her at PSG just have a nose for the big moment,
Yes.
and I think all of a sudden now, balls loose in a dangerous area. She might get there first and hit a pass that nobody's looking for to somebody streaking just from the complete wrong direction and might be able to flip a game that way.
Yep.
That's kind of the frequency she's been on this year. Like, let me just be half a step ahead and let me push it. She's been around forever. She's still just 26.
Yeah.
Like she's been in all these big spots and big games. I think she broke through as a teenager, but she's still obviously in her athletic prime, but you forget because she's so smart and she's so crafty, but it's just because
Yes.
she's so experienced. So I love that call. And we'll see. Just compelling matchup up and down.
It's going to be a banger, I think, either way. Even if it does end 2-0, either way, I think we'll have a ton to talk about, a ton to analyze, reanalyze, overanalyze.
Mm-hmm.
That's what football's for. That's what we're doing here.
That's what the pod's for too. Let's fucking go.
That's it.
All right. So we know that we've got the Nations League final coming up Monday night. As mentioned, 10:15 p.m. U.S. Women's National Team back in action against Mexico. That's going to close out the CONCACAF Gold Cup group stage. Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. This one's interesting. Talked about the League B, League A, Nations League promotion relegation battles. Iceland travels to Serbia after their 1-1 draw with a place in League A, which is basically Europe's top 16 on the line. Some fun Bayern connections here. Glodis Vigasdottir, she's on the Iceland side. Jovana Damjanovic, she's on the Serbia side.
Yeah.
Norway, Belgium, and Sweden, they all took care of business on the road, all three heading back home for their reverse fixtures, and all three comfortably in the driver's seat to stay in League A based on match one scorelines. Talked about the Nations League final. That one's going down Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And finally, third place match with first place stakes. Let's fucking go. Germany versus Netherlands playing for a spot in the Olympics. That one's happening 2:45 p.m. Eastern. So right after Spain, France. That's going to be a nice little 4-ish hours of football, buddy.
Hell yeah.
Gold Cup quarterfinals also kick off next weekend. So we will be very busy. Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here?
I think we've done it. I'll tell you, part of the plight of living in the United States of America is I had some trouble tracking down that Norway result. I was trying to, find the highlights. I saw Hegerberg scored. I saw CGH scored. Even in the YouTube era that we live in, I was having a hell of a time finding finding highlights. What were you able to find out there?
I found a really shoddy YouTube live stream. Thankfully, I was in
Yes.
position when the game was going down. You mentioned it. Ada Hegerberg scores like a very Ada kind of goal. CGH, incredible finish, 49th minute. Girl Wrighton, killer assist for their third goal. They just looked, they kind of outclassed Croatia. But I want to hit their lineup real quick.
Yeah.
Ada Hegerberg up front, Girl Wrighton, Frida Manum, CGH, Ingrid Engen was in the lineup, Aurora Mikkelsen in goal, Melde on the back line. I mean, I think this team, I can't quite remember a lot about their World Cup this past summer. I know they kind of didn't quite have the showing that they would have liked, but with this kind of roster, I think they're going to be pretty difficult to contend with. I think if they kind of keep all these players in form. But they looked really good. Looks like they're definitely going to stay in that Liga A mix. All they've got to do is not lose to Croatia at home by more than 3 goals. So
All right.
I think we can pretty much pencil them in.
Yeah, I feel like we should we could feel comfortable about that. Yeah, that 11, that's a fucking squad there. And I think that also plays into when we talk about like Spain being generational, like what level of generational are we talking about? Because when Spain goes to
Mm-hmm.
the Euros, not only do they have to contend with the Lionesses and France and Germany, but then you're also going to have Norway and Sweden in there. Like there are a lot of squads, so there are a lot of stumbling blocks, even as Spain looks like world beaters. So yeah, I will have to look for whatever sketchy stream I can find next time Norway plays because I want to watch all their matches. So yeah, I'll be on the hunt for them YouTube lives.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody who responded on Twitter trying to help us out with the stream. But a lot of geofencing. I don't know. Maybe we can put a call into the zone or somebody of that
Yeah.
ilk that we can maybe help us out a little bit. We're trying to cover some stuff, and tough to not be able to find some of the best footballers in the world playing live in the age of the internet. I mean, come on. With that said, I think we did it, man. It's been another episode of Into the Channel. Remember, subscribe or follow Into the Channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen at ITC_pod on X, at Into the Channel pod on Threads. Big thanks to you for watching and listening, no matter your club, no matter your country. The Into the Channel community is a place where we can all hang out, share ideas, fire off all these takes, and celebrate the sport we love. We are thrilled to have each and every one of you hanging out with us and engaging. Comments, ratings, reviews, always appreciated. Big thank you to my co-host for braving the international break in the middle of the club season. Stays ready. You stay ready. You don't have to get ready. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that. Just trying to stay in game shape. And as Dino said, no sketchy streams necessary for us. You find us on regular old YouTube, regular old Spotify, regular old Apple Podcast. We don't need the sketchy stream just yet. If there is a need for the underground, we'll go there with you guys to watch whatever football we need to find. But yeah, as Dino said, appreciate you guys rocking with us. I mean, we got to gear up. Speaking of staying ready, let's gear up for another great week of football, and we'll talk to you guys next week.